Welcome to this module on examples of plastic waste management. We know that plastic waste is a problem, so what can we do about it? In this module, we will see different intervention examples that can be done to solve this problem. For this purpose, I will guide you through this flow diagram. After watching this module, you will be able to differentiate and name 3 different plastic management strategies applied at different levels of the plastic life cycle, namely, measures to prevent plastic waste, measures to minimize unmanaged plastics, and measures to recover resources from plastic waste. The best plastic waste is the one never generated in the first place. To prevent plastic waste generation, interventions can be done at both the manufacturing level and the consumer level. The most effective way to prevent conventional plastic is to substitute plastic by producing alternative materials already at the manufacturing level. As an example, we invite you to check the Indonesia-based company called Avani. Since 2014, they are producing and selling substitutes of single-use items made out of bagasse, wood, or polylactic acid, all of them bio-based and biodegradable. Legislation can also play a big role by restricting, disincentivizing, or banning plastic products. Many countries and municipalities have already done it. Search for the terms phase out of lightweight plastic bags, for example, on the internet, and you will find this map which shows countries that have banned or have set taxes to plastic bags, just as inspiration. The case of San Pedro La Laguna, a municipality of 14,000 inhabitants at the shores of the Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, is very inspiring. Plastic bags, straws, and styrofoam have been legally banned based on a decision of the municipality mayor. They are now using biodegradable packaging again. Targeting consumer behavior through education can also reduce the consumption of plastic products. For instance, education campaigns can sensitize consumers to consider recyclability or biodegradability of products as purchasing criteria, and especially to avoid single-use plastic items. Despite all these possible examples of how to minimize plastic waste generation, we are still producing vast amounts of it. And a big share of the global plastic waste ends up in the environment and the oceans. That brings us to the second block of plastic management measures, those aiming at minimizing unmanaged plastic. First and foremost, you should put priority on providing effective waste management, especially in low and middle income countries, in order to stop the leakage of plastics into the environment. We recommend you to have a look at the modules on collection and disposal of this course. Despite the plastic mountains on land and plastic gyres in the oceans, a large portion of plastics are actually reusable or recyclable. Managed plastics could either be reused, disposed of, or resources from the material could be recovered. Here we distinguish 3 types of recovery options: material recovery, organic recovery, and energy recovery. Material recovery implies recycling the plastic, in other words, creating new plastic from old plastic. Get inspired by looking at Precious Plastics, an initiative from the Netherlands. On their website, you will learn how to recycle plastic waste with homemade processing machines to turn your plastic waste into original and colorful houseware. All their resources are freely available on their website. Another example of material recovery is to use plastics as construction material. For instance, the Plastic Bottle Village in Bocas del Toro, Panama, started compiling plastic bottles from the surroundings to construct houses. Or this other interesting initiative in the island of Ometepe, Nicaragua, where the local residents are paid for every plastic bottle they bring filled with smaller plastics. The bottles are then used as eco-bricks to construct a bilingual school. This project has motivated a lot of people to collect plastic waste, keeping the streets and shores of the island clean. Or Pierre Kamsulum's company, which produces tiles out of plastic and sand in Cameroon. You can find more information on this method on the toolkit published by WasteAid, accessible at this link. The second recovery option is organic recovery, which is only possible for biodegradable plastics. These are typically processed under industrial composting conditions. As mentioned in the first video, biodegradable plastics currently make up only around 1% of the global plastic production. This unfortunately means that this recovery option is applicable only to a very small portion of the world's plastic waste. As a last option, when no other sort of material recovery option is possible, the energy contained in the plastic can be recovered through efficient and well-operated installations. Unfortunately, as of now, plastics are very cheap to produce, which means that the market value for used plastics is often low. Therefore, the segregation of plastic waste poses one of the biggest challenges. To support source-separated waste collection of plastics, or segregation after waste collection, strong and stable markets for plastic waste would be necessary. But how can such markets be created? Let's get inspired by the Plastic Bank initiative. It consists of the first plastic bank, which provides a consistent above-market rate for plastic waste, thus incentivizing its collection. Individuals who collect plastic waste can trade it for money, items, or services such as soap, electricity, or cooking fuel. Manufacturers can then decide to produce their products using virgin plastic or this recovered plastic called social plastic. The money obtained through the sales of the material to the manufacturers goes then back to the bank, closing the cycle. That's it! In this module, we saw inspiring and exciting interventions that could be done by public institutions and/or individuals. Hopefully, you got some inspiration and you want to give it a try to one or more of these ideas. Good luck!